oven, right?
Yeah,
That's
that
still, it's
that I
hot.
definitely. Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
hitting the live button. We don't have to get to the stuff yet. This is
you're
like the
fine.
preview, right? Someday I'll take
That's
all of
okay.
these fun little, as I'm calling them, previews before we start the thing together and make a, like a whole Friends episode where they'd have
You're
like
like,
flashbacks, kind of.
you mean like the real deal behind the scenes stuff?
Yeah. But even though it's not like super that juicy, if you think about it, this is
Yeah.
me just going, oh, we survived our first winter in North Carolina. And if anybody is popping on, Meat Lover is here. I'd like you all to meet well, first, we're really super excited about Ginger. Guys, if anybody's out there, we got a big brain, like another big brain. This is going to be super fun, but also a big brain that listens and understands the peoples because of massive amounts of experience.
I
That's
have been
the
doing it for a hot minute.
is that Ginger in a nutshell, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of retail experience, relatively new in the industry, 3 years as
But
of
the
last
vast
week.
amounts
Yes,
of the experience, which
yes.
we'll get into. I'm really excited. But also, could you tell I overwrote? I wrote like 8 segments, and I'm like, why did I do that? Because I was like piecing shit together from months ago. So I've been a little bit excited about this episode, ladies and gentlemen, because okay, we're not going to get too much into it, but anyways, we're not going to give all the secret sauce at the moment, but we're going to have a good time. So welcome back. If anybody has been able to get on, because I haven't actually done the sharing I intended to do to, something's technical. Okay, we'll get there. I'm doing that. But if you're new here, hello, I'm Tori. I'm the sales director at Paradise, which is now Paradise Marketing, and we have a Paradise Pleasure product. And then that was running this podcast live stream thing for the last almost 3 years now. And the world has known me as everyone's condom charmer, right? So I'm working some new names. Hi, Erica. And I kind of stuck with the RGB ringleader right now because Paradise Pleasure product is its own thing. So I have to have 2 separate identities. It maybe makes it worse or better, but somewhere along the way, I launched this web stream, and we launched the first customizable LED toys. And a lot of you have been on the journey. Oops, as I knock my fancy equipment. That's not nice. You guys have been here for the journey or the glow up. Ha ha ha, because puns. So thank you for that. When I started this whole thing, it was me talking to the ether because nobody was talking about what I wanted to talk about. And y'all kept showing up. So thank you. But did you ever imagine that so many of you would talk back? This is, I don't know. Now we're in this like beautiful cycle of like, the more you give me, the more I'm going to give you. Right. I don't know if it's toxic yet or if it's beautiful, but here we go, guys. Today's guest. Oh, also, if you didn't get to see earlier, my lover, Ryan, the meat lover, also, he is backstage because he's going to help me do fun things with like, look at all this great, these great little pop-ups we're getting and information. It's going to be great. It's like timestamps, but in live, it's like timestamps, but in live time. Yes. Fun things. Okay. So here's Ginger. She's someone who sits right at the intersection of what gets made and what gets sold and what actually succeeds. So if you're new here, you know I love the word integrator. Somebody who oftentimes maybe takes on more than they need to, but I always want to give spotlight to those integrators because it's also kind of like nothing moves if that person doesn't have the things they need. And sometimes that's often from so many other different departments. Mm-hmm. So Ginger, she's here. Super senior director of product management. She oversees purchasing and product development and private label, and she has to make a lot of decisions all the time. And just so much of the vast experience. So Ginger, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Oh my God, it's going to be so fun. Okay, so I'm going to let you just take us back. How did you get here? And what made you stay?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in the industry for 3 years now. and just celebrated my 3rd anniversary here. And before, I lived in
Congratulations.
Pleasure Products, which has been amazing. I did Urban Lifestyle, which is all like athletic wear and tennis shoes. And I ran a company up in Baltimore, and I did that for about 7 years. And I loved it. Like, you just are really meeting the people, which I love so much, and getting the feedback. And you can really see like some movers and shakers like Nike and Adidas and all those guys like really doing things. It was a great experience for me. But I started looking around because I'm from North Carolina and my family lives in North Carolina. And I kind of wanted to be a little bit closer to home. I felt like I'd proven a few things to myself along the line. And I saw, I just was looking on LinkedIn and I saw something. I was like, oh, well, let me give him a chat. Let me talk with this. And just from the first interview on, I was just like, I really feel like this could be a great place for me. Just, I love the creativity. I love the fun. We don't take ourselves too seriously, but at the same time, there's a lot of data that goes into everything. And so it was just this really nice balance. And I enjoy being in an environment where I feel like, we're a nice sized company, but everybody collaborates across the entire building, right? It's not
That's
just like
great.
super corporate. We're not sitting here going, oh, let's talk about these tenths of a detail on what this number is. It's how are we going to make our customers happy? We believe that we sell smiles. We think that we are in the business
Oh, I love that.
of,
The selling the smiles.
yeah, right. Like if
I might
you're
lightly
taking this too
that.
seriously, then I think you're doing it a little wrong. And I have seldom been involved with a company that is as passionate about the history and, really what we have done with, women's reproductive rights and sexual freedoms and freedom of speech and all of these things that this company is really based in.
And
So
not
it's just
and not
very
in like,
empowering for me.
and it hasn't happened in like what some companies are 200 years old, or let's just say in the 100 years of industry. It has not been that long, and it's crazy to think that a lot of shifts you're seeing in the industry, especially in the sexual wellness side, have literally only happened in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So that's a great point. I always found this industry very interesting because of the there's still room to grow in so many different spots, but also there's room for a lot of great stories, a lot of great product, a lot of great people to come in, because not everything is so traditionally corporate. It's a lot of family run businesses.
Right.
And yeah, people that have gone to jail, done so many sacrifices, freedom of speech, just to have their retail locations.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really great mix of like the hustle culture and still, I mean, we're employee owned, right? Like there are people in this building who work for me who have been here for more than 30 years, and there are people in the building who've been here for more than 40. So since almost
like in a great way, insane.
Yeah.
Like the actual concept of like, we want you to be here and we want you to retire here. It's not necessarily a model that's promoted these days, right? It's grab a company, build a company, merge with a company, sell a company, make the money, right?
Yeah, I mean, and look, and I'm not gonna, that model works for some people, right?
Yes,
But
yes.
for us, it has always been sustainable growth. What can you do? What can you make better in what you're doing? It's not just about what's going to be the quickest thing and where we're going to get to. What can we do to make sure that our consumers are still experiencing what they want to experience, from the quality of the product to the interaction? Our help desk is local, right? It's in the building. So we have multiple schedules. So it's pretty much 3/4 of any kind of day you can get hold of an actual person inside the building to answer questions. We still have a lot of customers that call in and they're like, "Who can you tell me more about this product?" We have people that do that.
That's great.
Yeah,
I didn't even know that was a thing still. That's pretty fantastic. You learn something new every day. Did you hear that, guys?
Yeah, I mean, they have like the little chat thing, but if it's something that they're like, "Oh, I need more information," then a live person's on the other end of that. So it's definitely a different setup than what you see in a lot of them.
Oh, that's very much what the old school Zappos right? He trained everybody to just help till they were done, right? So I think one of the examples was, and they were using chat, but still it was like, hey, can I help you with anything else? Well, actually, I have a trip, in the area. Do you know any good pizza? And, that was, hey, yeah, literally, you have authorization to continue to help this customer and be like, yeah, pizza's here. Like, you're talking to a human that you can explain your situation to, and more potentially.
I just think it's important in this industry because, some of this product, when people are using it or seeing it for the first time, maybe they're embarrassed. I think that's one of the great things about an in-store experience where somebody's really able to like help do the education part, or, ooh, you might like to use this with this over here, or, you know what, I've had one of these in my room for forever and this is going to be great. It's my go-to. So being able to replicate even part of that with having a live person on the phone, I think is hugely helpful. Also, we have people inside the building who have been with us for 30 or 40 years. We still have a lot of customers who have been buying with us since day one. So we want to make sure that they still kind of experience, it started out as catalog and it was just a few different products. So as we've grown, but we've tried to make sure that we're bringing everybody along for the ride.
Ah, that word, inclusivity. Yeah. I love it. There was another great word that we'll just put into the keywords of this episode, the sustainability too, right? You didn't have to change. You didn't need to burn down your customer base and catalogs or pretend that never existed, but you built an additional, channel on the legacy.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in everything has ands or ors, right? There's some things you do and a person's going to choose to do this, or they're going to choose to do that over there. We really look for the path that gives us the most ands, right? It's, you could do this and you could do that and you could pick up this over here. So, one-stop shopping when it comes to an assortment of product and really kind of understanding what people's interests are and listening to their feedback. We get some crazy customer comments on our site, some of which are incredibly educational. They're like, I didn't like it because of X, Y, and Z. Some of them are just like, nope, wasn't the one for me. And that's valid, right?
One star because I didn't like the price.
Because I didn't like it. Yeah, I didn't like it on kind of what it is. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Because that's always going to be what it is. But when we see things in there, we have a lot of people who spend time going through the reviews and just being like, okay, here was the major takeaway from what happened last week. There were some new things. Are they making like comments about the functionality of something? What can we do to improve what we have?
I love that. No, I started a whole tangent in my brain of like, wow, Adam and Eve is, so many things, but an additional thing I'm adding to my narrative was you're probably, if not the leader of parts of the industry that is, I don't want to say you're data driven only, but a lot of places don't necessarily have the same amount of capability to get the data. They're stuck to a POS system or just word of mouth or he said, she said. You can actually go and be like, well, these are the patterns, these are the behaviors. It doesn't, you can't just copy pasta everything, right? Yeah. But I know there was a point in my career where it was a big shift for the company that I was at to actually start bringing KPIs or any sort of data. They weren't necessarily corporate people before that, so it was always a struggle to get kind of information like that. And you guys, oh, hey, we've had it since day one, right? Like you need it from the catalog. Do you need it from state? Do you need it from zip code? Are you looking for things that are non-latex or whatever it might be, regardless of if you thought you were going to need all those things yet. Correct me if I'm wrong. You guys are still the #1 on Google on SEO for any sex toy, anything.
Yeah, we have a tremendous amount of data. And I think that as the complexity of it grows and has over the years, that's still one thing that we constantly learn from, right? It's, you have the data, how are you pulling that data out and how are you going to use it to tell you a great story?
Yes.
Right? Like,
storytelling is not just marketing.
Right. And if sometimes if you get the data and you start in the middle, you don't come to the right conclusion as if you really backtracked it and said, no, let's start the story from the beginning and kind of go in a sequence on what it is. So that's incredibly important to us, is understanding the context around what it is. But yeah,
right. Because if you don't understand the context, then you think you're being clear, but the numbers are going to look like something else.
Exactly. I think for us, yeah, are we the biggest? We are, but part of the reason we come in every day is to continue to grow,
Oh
right?
yeah,
How
I
do we
was
get
gonna,
bigger? How do we
how do
get
you
bigger and
maintain
better?
that? Right. I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
going to say
it's
that's a bigger struggle to me, honestly. I feel like companies spend in general more money maintaining their top status than it's easier to take than it is to maintain.
and I think that, what we've done is we prioritize the people both in and out of the building. Like when we build out platforms, we are like humans are the platform that everything is built on of, right? You
Yes.
know, people talk about AI and it's going to replace and AI can be a great tool. AI is a great recapper of things. AI does a lot of those pieces. However, without the right interpretation of the data, without really kind of understanding what it is, it's useless, right? You can come up with a lot of different data points that don't actually have any real life application. So we start with people, we start with our customers and what they're looking for. We start with what's going to work for the people inside this building as we continue to grow as a company. And then we try to connect the dots. We're constantly trying to connect and we lean on our partners. Like, the illumination line was something that we're like, here's somebody who's doing something cutting edge. My ego is not in it like that. It doesn't have to be me that comes up with something. I am always looking for somebody to have the next great idea. And it's my job and it's our job as a company to figure out how to support the the absolutely overwhelming amount of ingenuity that really happens in this industry. People are always looking for a different way to meet the needs and to meet people where they exist. And so me looking for great partners is a huge piece of my job.
Oh goodness, so many things. We have like 18 more episodes, like talking about partnership, and then we just need to do a whole storytelling with data, sort
Yeah.
of quick and dirty. Nathan here, I don't know if you got to see the comment earlier, but he agrees. He's like, data is everything, assuming you can understand the context, right? He finds himself constantly reminding other people about that. That's a whole other episode, right? Where it's like, great, this is how you read the data, but don't let people flip the data on you, right? Meeting people where they play. Hi, Cherie. Also, hi.
She's
She's
always awesome.
Oh, Mama Red, Mama Dragon. She's
Mm-hmm.
here. She's here. I tell her this all the time. I was like, I don't know, because we'd known each other. Actually, she knew my husband. Thank you, meat lover. And they were there because he used to work for Fascinations, and then he moved to corporate, and then all the things.
Oh, nice.
So, we had kind of started our relationship there, but definitely as I moved more into condoms, because she had all the ID experience, I'm like, how did I even do the other 8 years or whatever without you? I don't even understand. And like this lady, Blanca, like, how did you do it without your people? But, so yeah, I wanted to mention, thank you, sidebar. Thank you for being a partner with us. Talk about the things we've learned in 90 days on the illumination line.
Right.
Like, reminding people, it's literally been 90 days. And we've learned so much, and we were even able to update graphics and all that stuff. It's again, why what we talked about earlier, we're drawn to this industry, or at least we have that in common. It's not always easy to turn a bigger ship around versus, we were able to kind of dip in and out where we needed to because of the nature of the industry.
Yeah, I think that you guys have been incredibly nimble on what the process is and coming up with something that is has as much innovation as that line does, and really kind of coming out of the gate on it. I think that you did a really, really good job. I think that there are learnings and there's different ways to present, and it's how does it look online versus in store. It's such a different experience. Seeing it out at the show at altitude, people will just naturally gravitate towards what that product is. It's just very playful, it's fun, and it just kind of adds like a new sensuality to the toy.
Oh, thank you. I'm just obsessed with lighting anyways. So this somehow was always destined to be. Can we talk about that a little bit? You were talking, because at least I can lean in on my experience, but I'd also like to lean into the family here, like the concept, and you're 100% correct. There is a difference in showcasing product on the interwebs than showcasing in a retail or a trade show environment. Things that might work, like I realized taking pictures of RGB LED products with a crappy camera or a crappy webcam completely, it doesn't look the same as if I even did it on my camera phone, right? How would you have even known that? So learning that you have to figure out how to show a white product that lights up and not make it look like what it's not on a white background. That was a fun learning experience.
Yeah, there were challenges, and I think that hindsight's always 2020, right? If you look back and we're like, okay, how do we relaunch it today online and call it this really great experience? I think that that the use of video, which isn't something that we necessarily do the best job, it's something that we're putting a lot of time and attention into right now.
That's great. That's great for
definitely, you guys. Definitely helps that out. And I think that's someplace that will continue to grow to be able to showcase lots of different kinds of products just at their best advantage. But I do think that is one of the things that we have to become more flexible in. We have white backgrounds. We like to have this kind of symmetry and make it a very consistent feel. But like, how do we create these little moments, right? These little vignettes of stories that we can tell and really tell collection stories at a whole different level. I think that's the kind of challenge that this product brings to our table, and it's part of my job to do a solve for that.
Oh, we're gonna get it, guys. Don't worry. The illumination, domination, sensation, it's coming. But also, it's so fun to just kind of still do it together.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love that. More video stuff. What do you think? This is me just now not going off of any of the crazy stuff that I wrote about, because why not? What are your thoughts? Because you were kind of talking about how like, oh, we got to kind of convert to video because a lot of the world is video, right? Like a lot of the world just, if you try, I'm trying to figure out the social media game a little bit here. Welcome. And, organic growth and all that fun stuff. But it seems like a lot of the, what I would have planned for traditional marketing promotions even 3 years ago, like a quote or a stagnant post or a product photo, is not even like, people aren't looking at posts. They're looking at reels. They're looking at quick little videos. So add that sort of new hurdle with our category gets all sorts of whatever for being our category on the internet. And then, it's like, how do you make that make sense? It's a struggle. I don't know where I was going with this.
It's
that I kind of just wanted to like, what do you think? Are we going that way? Do we all need to start just Instagramming and not sending sell sheets? Like,
no,
is it all
I think that there's going to be a back and forthness of it. So when you think about the in-person, there's really no replacement for that in person. You're touching, you're feeling, right? But there's also, with COVID and everything that happened, there's just not as many people that want to go out and touch and feel all the product all the time. So many great strides were made, right? Like, we're doing this right now. We're not even close to each other, but we can have this kind of virtual
so much fun
experience, right?
Well, because we never get any time at the trade shows, actually, even though we want to sit down with like a snack, but that can't happen. So we just do it on the interwebs later.
Right? Like, it just becomes like this whole thing. And I think that short form communication, right, this is just the next leap. Like, we all went from talking on the telephone, right? I can remember talking on the telephone with my friends after school, like, whoo, I talked to
on the kitchen floor because the cord didn't go far enough.
Because they only went so far. And then there were
or don't call me till 5 because my minutes don't kick in.
Yeah, right. Like, people had pagers, which who knows what that even looks like anymore, right? And then it was cell phones and bag phones, and now we text. I mean, people are like, why are you calling me? Is there an emergency?
Yeah, right.
Because this could have been a text message.
Or if you accidentally call me twice in a row, I think it's an emergency. So I'm going to be like, oh my God, what is it? And they're like, nothing. And I was like, oh, I'm on a call. I thought you were dying. Okay, bye.
Yeah. So I do think that marketing has always had an entertainment value, right? When you look at the truly great ads from the past, they wowed, they entertained, right? They just captured your interest. And I still feel like that is going to be the purpose of marketing. But I do feel like that the customer now wants this blend because they want so much information, especially in our product categories, that they need to know, like, what am I going to put on or in my body? What is the process that is going on here? What materials are being involved in what this is? Because there's just a proliferation of products that are
people
out
want
there.
to be prepared. They want to be prepared to ask questions instead of, figure out what experience they're looking for.
Yeah. So I think that that's definitely going to be a piece. And I think people have always been like, why do I have to figure out how to recreate the wheel? Why can't somebody be like, this wheel was built for you and it's going to be the perfect wheel for you to have in your repertoire? So I think that it's just a combination there. I mean, video just really kind of plays to that. It absorbs a lot of information, helps a person absorb a lot of information incredibly quickly.
Okay, so everybody, I'm just going to start sending like a video. It's almost be Marco Polo, but in email. I'll be like, hey, instead of me sending all the things, checking in, here's your clips. How are you? And just in a video, and then you just watch it. Although that wouldn't be very efficient, but I feel like I kind of want to do that. It might make more sense. People might understand me more, right? I don't know.
Get a lot of engagement.
Well, and then we can talk about the burnout if you want to, because I know it's whatever. It is the wheel. I'm waiting for the other side of the pendulum, but there are times that I absolutely resent my phone. Like I don't even want to look at it. I don't even want to call anybody on it. I can't even talk anymore because the minute something's gonna pop up, something's gonna want something from me. Even if it's just a reminder for me to take my medicine. I was like, you are so goddamn demanding.
I had to get rid of my Apple Watch for that. I was like, the Apple Watch was too much. So, because it followed me everywhere. There was no even just putting it down. So I converted over to one of the rings to kind of keep in track with my fitness and everything else as opposed
to. Yeah, I want to look into those. I'll call you later about that because I'm still on the watch and it's broken. But my cat tells me things and my little stress cat, it's amusing. We got a live one. Tori wants to know, how was your experience in fashion, or how has your experience in fashion impacted your perspective approaching pleasure products and wellness?
So I personally feel positively about it because when I first got here, I've always had experience, not just in apparel, fashion, and shoes, but also like a ton of accessory experience. So I worked with a company that did a lot of jewelry. So jewelry has a longer lifespan, right? But, trends, they come and they go. And I really feel like that was kind of like no, you just build a great thing and it's going to sell for forever. And to a certain extent in this industry, it does. I mean, you can look at some of just the most iconic toys. They're not new. They've been around for a really long time. They have great technology behind them. Do they update the finishes and the treatment? Absolutely, they do. But it's just
they also, have to change their packaging and everything. But it's still great product, but it still needs to evolve.
Yeah, right? They still have to kind of evolve with what it is. But just taking a look at it and just even understanding that, the color that was popular 10 years ago, well, that's not the color that's popular today. And the more that you can change it up and make it a different experience for the different kinds of people, like what a millennial is going to be interested in and what Gen Z is going to be interested in is going to have two different aesthetics, just from what's realistic and what's not realistic. Some people want things that they could be like, you could go into a bathroom and have no idea what was sitting on a countertop in there. That's the look that they want. They're very discreet when it comes to being able to have things. They don't want to have to feel like that they have to put everything away in a closet. And then you have other people and they're like, I want as close to human anatomy as I can possibly get. And what this is, and they have no desire to leave it out. They do want to put it all away and have a lot more separation. And so just being able to go, look, they still need the same kinds of things. They just want it served up in a completely different way, and identifying those trends, I think is something I've been able to kind of bring into the office building that they didn't necessarily have before.
Oh, like your brain is already formatted to look for like trends and categories like that because of the vast smarty pants experience. Right. Again, kind of going back to your point, like not reinventing the wheel, but you have that different lens that you could bring the correct sort of a filter to things that your brain's already trained to.
Yeah, we talk about the sizzle, right? In the industry, like a lot, everybody likes to talk about the sizzle. And the sizzle, so the comment that was up there earlier is so true. The sizzle has changed so much over the years. Like there was the commercial, like we wear short shorts commercial. I remember that commercial when I was growing up. If that commercial aired today,
we wear short shorts,
right? People would just be insane
Oh, Lord,
about
right. Something
what
said,
that is.
well, and I just, not just a while ago,
Yep.
watched the documentary. It was what was it? Tyra Banks and
Oh, America's Next Top Model. That thing was insane.
So right, does not hit, but
Yep.
everybody was obsessed with America's Next Top Model. Blanca says that as a parent of millennial, she can tell you that she owns nothing phallic, and all of her stuff, they're all just like trinkets.
Yep.
And very fluid.
Yeah, my daughter turns 30 this year, and her aesthetic on what she is looking for is just 180 degrees. It's very different on kind of what it is. And so I think it's just important to understand your audience. I think you really got to make sure that when you're out there and you're looking, and that's why I look for different partners, because they each address like this different place. If you think of it as your closet, right? And you're like, okay, I have my Monday outfit where I need to look a little bit this way and kind of go with this. But then by the time you get to Friday, everybody's looking to like let their hair down a little bit. So it's not that it's not the same people, but you're catching them at a different place in their life. And what they want in that moment is going to evolve and change. So you got to change with it, right? And at the same time, still respect the fact that there are going to be people out there that they want what they want. So I think that there's a way to do it. And I think there's a way to sell experiences more, which I think is what a lot of people are looking for, and help curate, because that's the biggest unlock for what people are. When they go into a store, there's somebody to sit there and go, hey, I want this experience, right? And we are trying to make sure that we can offer as much of that online as is humanly possible.
But also, in what? It's not even 30 seconds for attention. It's like in less than 10 seconds. Can I show off all of my presumed experiences quickly so that I can draw you in enough to get the education?
Yeah, our job is to help them get to what they want as quickly as possible.
Nobody has
time to play around.
Yeah, I was going to say, what are we doing about blogs anymore, people, in the SEO or e-commerce world, right? That used to be the like, get a blog and then you get the backlink and then all the people. I'm not seeing a demand for blogs so much.
No, I don't see them as standalones. I think we are looking at expanding out the education on our site in a personable sort of way. So I think, rituals is definitely like
that's a great way to put it, Blanca.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think that there's just, what's my routine? What are the things what combination works for me and what this is? And by sharing,
they want to customize everything.
Yeah, by sharing what works for other people, I think that that's what's going to help out, right? So just being able to say, hey, if you use this and this, I think you're going to enjoy that experience more. And helping them understand what things can kind of, in what order to do things, what lubes match up really best with which toys, why should you use a specialized toy cleaner as opposed to just, washing it with your Dawn dishwashing
foaming
detergent.
Spray, scented, unscented, right? This is I mean, so that kind of brings me to another thought as customers are demanding more education and getting more educated. I'll put an asterisk there because condoms just got no more education and got so much more misinformation, but that's another day. Do you think, since they're more customer, like, are they more educated now, or are they more overwhelmed? Right? Like sometimes then people are down a rabbit hole and then it's like, I must have the lemon. I'm not picking on you, lemon, that you're just in my head, right? Because that's what they've had, but that's their education, so to speak, but are now they overwhelmed and they're just like,
I think that people have access to a massive amount of data. Not all of it is data that is accurate for them, right? So data can exist out here, and you have to really say, well, from my point of view, from my story that I want to tell, what is actionable for me? And in some of these cases, it's not that the data is wrong. It was just a very specific set of circumstances that led to what it is that they were saying, and a completely different experience for somebody else.
Right. Gotta understand the context.
Yeah, I think you do. And I think shopping by experience or shopping by what solves for a problem is going to be the next step in what it is. The amount of conversation around menopause, just as an example and a topic, from 2 years ago to today is night and day.
Right. Well, even in just my own perimenopausal journey, it's like, what? We don't know this?
Yeah.
We don't?
Yeah. And I think a lot of these things, I don't like to use the word symptoms because I think it sounds very medical and kind of what it is you're doing. But, that's a piece of it. Like when you have a problem, when you have an issue that you're trying to solve for, that's what people want. People want to be able to go in and be like, I do not feel good down here right now and would like to feel better. What's going to help me out with that?
Yes.
And then it's, how do you get, well, why don't you, right? How do you get to the whys of what it is they're doing and then offer them the best
you got to do
solution.
find those fact-finding questions,
Yep.
but do it quickly on e-commerce and no thinking. So I can just get in your cart, right? And then we go from there.
Yeah, that's where I feel like the more decision tree we can make it to be like, ooh, this is where you start. And then, okay, you like this, click onto it. Or you like this, click onto this over here. And that gets them to what it is they need. I think that's going to be key.
I do love when that happens.
Yeah,
to me.
Curating. We're just always looking for great new partners that have innovative new products. What can we put up there? What can we make sure that our customer gets first?
That was so many great things wrapped up. Cherie, that the conversation and resources are improving for menopause, but still a long way to go. It's something like no less than 25 years of research on PMS and more than 100 years on ED. That's all I'm saying. Just one. It's not apples and oranges, but just saying. The same with first-time buyers and their first purchase. Not many people tell them that they should start soft and rumbling rather than full-on desensitizing.
Yeah, and I think just being able, there's like almost a stigma attached to, like, some people are like, well, they want to be called out as not knowing what it is they're doing. And I'm like, really, that's not the point. The point is, how can we make sure that what it is they're doing, we give them a better ritual or a better process to do, what takes them up to the next level? Because it's like kissing. Everybody starts off kissing. Nobody's perfect at it when they first start. It's a little messy. It's a little all over the board. You're both trying to look at the other person, right? And you learn together and you figure out what feels good. But I think that's something, because we do it so young, you get past that embarrassment and you kind of do it. Some people start off into this process, after a life change, after a divorce, after they've had children and their bodies change, when they're going through menopause. It starts an entirely different journey for that person through different places of life, because your body changes, and what it enjoyed when you were 20 years old and still powering through on 2 hours worth of sleep and some energy drinks is not what I can do today.
Or maybe how you expect people to show up in your relationships are different. I know that's a big struggle.
Absolutely.
No, 100%. It's all sort of different phases. I love that. Oh, my chair, it scooted. Do you know when it accidentally falls off the carpet and then all of a sudden I'm all trapped in my own desk? That was embarrassing. Okay, that was great. Blanca was what did you get? She got sorry. She didn't get her first toy till she started in the industry 20 years ago.
I will talk to almost anybody, and there have been a number of times, like, I travel a lot, that I'll be on a plane. Some people are like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, do you really want to know?
I'm a badass bitch at Adam and Eve.
Yeah. So you start talking about them and they'll be like, I have no idea what to get. And I'm like, well, you're like, what do you like? What's your favorite? What movie makes you tingle a little bit, right? What makes you feel in that romantic kind of mode? Because that's going to tell you, like, what experience did they see in that movie? Was it
or like
intense?
Show me.
Was it soft? Was it like, what was it? And then that kind of, you can use a lot of context clues to kind of lead them down the path. But they love
Lord of the Tingles.
Yeah, there's some great titles out there when you really look for them.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think Lord of the Tingles, or I guess Lady of the Tingles, is one of your new names that you were just dubbed. This is fun. That's so much learning. So much learning today. What do you think? What's a big mistake that people are missing when it comes to, or maybe not mistake? What could people do better? What's something people should adapt about all the vast things we talked about, right? Like, maybe we're really missing the ball on data, or we're still really missing the ball on, like, our customers just want to be heard. most of the time, regardless of if like you immediately can do something about it or not.
Yeah, I think use in the context is still a big miss. I think people tend to learn how to say things from social media or from a movie, right? We all talked about how the porn industry has really impacted people's perceptions of sex through different stages, right? Like that's always been a big piece of the conversation, but all those things are what educate the vocabulary around all of these products and everything else. And so they use that. And somebody mentioned like rumbly versus desensitizing, like understanding what that even means and building a common vocabulary to me is still a big miss. So you can say that
that
it's
is a great
data,
point. Mm-hmm.
right? You can say that it's data, but somebody comes on and says, I am looking for something that just blows my mind, right? The perception is, oh, they're looking for this big, massive
They want
experience,
power.
right? But in a lot of cases, if you ask them like 4 more other follow-up questions, what you find out is it takes them longer to warm up. They aren't going to do well with the toy that tries to get you from 0 to 60 in, 2 seconds or less. They need something that's going to kind of warm up with them and take them on a path. And, what accoutrements, what kind of accessories, right, do they need with this? Because I think, uh, smut books like Book Talk, right?
Oh,
There's
don't
so
even
many
get me started.
so
I would
many
rather
audiobooks.
I wish I was a book talker, but here I am.
Oh, well, who wouldn't want to be a book talker?
Oh my God.
And naming fingernail polish for OPI
Right?
were my dream jobs at
No
one
joke.
point in time. I was like,
I'm not really a waitress. It's still my favorite. Okay, but look what came today. Tuesday is book release day, right? So
yeah,
we have the Throne of Broken Gods was just number 2 in the Gods and Monsters, and
Yep.
we're sprayed edged, so we'll just.
I'm just saying, like all of those things, audio, like there are so many little add-ons to the experience which create.
Yeah, again, it's the whole experience.
Yeah, they create this mood, and if you just
and that does include lube and cleaner, guys. I know
right?
if you're selling a toy, people think it's just like that was the experience, and I know you did a lot of hard work to find the precise device that your customer was looking for, but they still won't have that experience if they don't know how to take care of their toy.
Yeah, and there's serums today. Like, look,
and now
leave the house without
an
sunscreen on,
outfit,
right?
And I'm like, yeah.
There's all these things that I'm willing to pay money for to put on my face. I would like to think that I take care of all of my sensitive pieces to that same degree.
I know,
but in general,
she doesn't get the same amount of skincare.
Yeah, there's a soap in a shower, and that's pretty much the extent of what most people go through. And that literally, as your body changes, there's so many things that like, oh, I feel like I have flaky skin on my face. I'm going to put this on because I don't want to go out without this, beautiful, smooth skin. Like going into any sort of experience with your partner, like go into it and set yourself up for success, right? That is what we should all be doing.
Right?
Communicate, but also make sure you find the things that work for your body.
Yeah. And it's okay if you don't. And guess what? It's okay if you don't know those things yet.
That's right. Ask the questions.
That's a big thing I think is also being missed right now. Yeah. So many things with condoms, but definitely in the condom space where there's a lack of communication. They don't want to talk about. They don't want to sound needy if they are asking for condoms, or somebody assumes that somebody else doesn't trust or is abusing the relationship or cheating if you ask for safety. So I'm like, it's, I don't know how to help folks. I'm just the elder millennial over here saying what happened to communicating, that used to be part of and maybe it's not. Like, again, I've been in this industry too long. You guys tell me, but isn't that part of the journey and the process is like leaning into your partner and getting vulnerable and being like, hi, let's
and find out what works for, for both of you. But I think there's a lot of, miscommunication, bad perceptions that are out there. Like when it comes to condoms, number of people who are like, oh, I'm not going to feel anything through that. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
well, but also, chlamydia, you'll feel something.
Yeah. But I mean, there's plenty of them that offer all sorts of different experiences. I guarantee you will find one that you enjoy using or your partner enjoys you using. So I think that there are some of those things where it's just misconceptions.
Yes, that's why I'm like, we've got now there is no sex education and there's no budget for, Planned Parenthood has zero budget. I would be selling them, right? Like the government is just not passing them out right now. And now we're looking at potentially some more troubles with getting the rubber, so to speak. So it's just like fueling the fire. I don't know. I'm just saying what I'm saying, people, but it hasn't been great. And then now we have I'm hearing a whole generation of people that are not having physical sex or sex with themselves. So I'm worried about what's happening in the Houston and the people that don't have the education and things spread. But I think there's a lot of things that get missed, and that would be one of them. Kind of like, what are we reading the same book, but also are we speaking the same language? You might think you're saying the same thing. How many times that happened? Like with my boss, I'll say something about the table, and really we're talking about the Excel sheet or something like that, and we're saying the same thing, but now we're confusing each other.
Yeah. I think the little blurb that came up, protection is sexy. I think that that's just something that we all kind of need to own, and it's not just your protection; it's protecting the entire community that you're interacting with out there. So,
100%. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's an ugly statistic.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's true. There's a whole, Ryan actually sent these things. There's a whole like TikTok hole you can go down because there's no other information, and that's where it's getting posted. Or no joke, it's especially in Houston right now, it kind of moved from Atlanta. You go walk into your nurse, and the anywhere in Texas, you could just say, hey, I was in Houston, or just Houston, and they are running the full panel because they are finding, we're not just talking about the STIs, people. Like, I'm not trying to shame anybody that stuff happens. I get it. And a lot of these situations you can come back from. There's medicine. The important part is just like, make sure it's not just your health, but kind of what we talked about. It's not getting anywhere else because people don't know what they don't know. But syphilis is one of those ones that it takes a very heavy toll. And there are some things you cannot come back from when it comes to syphilis. And it is very hard to diagnose because one day it could be a headache. The next day you feel like your armpits smell. And then another day you have zero symptoms. It is such a mimicker disease. You can't find it. Okay. That was like my quick little PSA there.
It's needed. I think, it's needed, and it's just a part of education. And I think that's what we're all here for is, right, just kind of add to the educational content that's out there and help people have their best experiences.
Blanca, she's all, what? Planned Parenthood has no access? I wouldn't say access. It's nobody has the budget. So if anything, they're calling me to see if I have any freebies, and I'm calling my suppliers saying, hey, I need this for Planned Parenthood, but I need it free. And it's kind of like, well, where are the bids? It's non-existent. The government has not decided to spend money on those things at the moment. So, it just is what
frustrating.
It is. Yeah. I was like, we've inherited it. I'm not saying somebody did it right or somebody did it wrong. It's just where we're at right now. And also Blanca says she's been doing some research and she's a little overwhelmed, but she's intrigued with all the balms, lotions, and perfumes, which, I love liquids. This is very exciting. Do you think kind of liquids have, I'm hearing that commodities and liquids are kind of keeping the people coming back, right? As consumables do. Do you think that's the next wave of trends? Like, stay with our lubes and our lotions and our fun rituals, or devices or DVDs or rubber are going to make a comeback?
I think there'll be integration on what those things are. So like if you just compare it to the beauty world, right? And you're like, oh, okay, red light therapy on your face, that's just a huge piece. We're already hearing about it in the wellness world because pieces of your body's skin type responds very similarly. I think that when it comes to the liquids, that the education and the ingredient decks are just going to become more and more and more important. So it's the same way when you can go in and you can buy a perfectly good liquid that you're going to use as a daily moisturizer on your face. But then once you really get into it, then you're going to be like, oh, but for my particular skin type, right, this is actually going to work better, or I'm sensitive to this product, but work really well with this one. It's all of those kinds of things. scent plays into it. Some people want no scent whatsoever. Some people definitely want a scent that is there. When it comes to intimate things, you can have flavor options that really come into it to kind of add even more pieces on top of what that is. And we haven't even started touching on there are people who really only want to deal with organic product. So,
and sometimes the word organic does not mean what people think it means.
It doesn't.
And customers are reading the label more than ever, which is great for me because I'm like, yay, people are talking my same language, but no, I want to be part of the conversation. I'm not trying to be like, mirror. I'm just like, like my favorite Excedrin migraine and Excedrin extra strength. It is the same formula, but it's targeted for different experiences, so to speak. Right. Like, no, it's good to kind of know those things.
Yeah. So I think there'll definitely be some integration. I think there are some, like whether it's Kegel or, prostate experience, things that are like that play well with what all of these liquids and the serums and things are, and kind of help build the muscle structure and kind of work around the experience. But yeah, honestly, I feel like toys are not going anywhere. We're all going to always love a really good toy. But I think in the wellness place, I think that improving your physical wellness through topicals, probably even more so than supplements, is where I am seeing it go.
Well, hey, thanks for the insight. And I think I agree now that I'm like, playing the reel of what I've been seeing in stores. It's definitely not like, yeah, toys are not going anywhere, but I am seeing more space being dedicated to lube and accessories and more condoms. Thanks, guys.
Yay.
But it's as you said, how do you get the right information in front of the right people on the right time? Also, Blanca says that there's an edible perfume called Hot Sauce. HAUTE. So, and it's edible. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, there's some fun things popping up. I'm like writing 5 more episodes in my head. So I'm gonna leash the demons here, because this is great. This is like so much dopamine and information and fun, but also I never get to talk to my girlfriends. And also I live out here now. I don't have any local friends. So all my friends are on the internet. So welcome, or in this case.
Yeah. No. I think that like there's so many conversations you can have about all these things. We could probably go on for a million years.
I love it. We'll keep the conversations going. But people out there, if you want to be part of the conversation or have other questions or want to work on partnerships or need advice on data, like reach out. It's our industry. We got to protect it somehow.
Absolutely.
So as times get tougher, like, let's collaborate. Okay, I'm going to do the rapid fires now.
Yes.
Because I'm trying not to make this like an hour and a half episode, as much as I really like that right now. And someday I envision these cute little things where I add people's rapid fires to something. I don't know what yet, but it'll be fun. Okay, so if you could design any product, doesn't have to be an adult product, like it could be Kleenex. If you were able to redesign a product from scratch, what would it be?
Ooh. Cars.
Okay.
I feel like the whole seatbelt situation is insane, and
we could do better.
If we could just do so much better. They're just not as user friendly as they should. They're not comfortable. Something you're supposed to spend that much time in with all of our commutes every day. It just needs to be a lot more comfortable experience.
Yeah, forget it. And it doesn't need to be it doesn't need to be like everything's another $2,000.
Yeah, I grew up on the Jetsons. Where is my bubble air car?
Oh, Chris, hello. He wants a teleporter.
That's I take saying. A TARDIS any day of the week.
Oh, well, I mean, if are we talking teleporters or TARDISes? These are completely different, even though they do the same function. It's like a facial tissue or a Kleenex.
I mean, I feel like the TARDIS is going to get you there.
Yeah,
Scotty might have sent you up to the wrong place.
You're like worried on a molecular level.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that. Speaking of which, what's the most overhyped feature right now? Doesn't have to be adult. Like I just think whatchamacallit, the overhypeness of creators with their likes, when really you could just have great content and still, get the monetization that you want, right? And even brands don't necessarily always care about your likes, but if you can make a good review and do a good whatever video and a couple of good posts, they're happier with that.
I feel like I'm going to say AI, which may be controversial.
No, do it.
But like honestly, when it comes down to it, when I was growing up and coming up, and really computers were expanding, and the internet was like kind of a new thing, and all.
Oh, is this when your AOL showed up on a disc?
Right.
You don't even know what a disc, like your internet showed up on a disc and you paid for it separately.
Amazed, and everybody was like, no, computers are going to take over the world, and they're not going to need people to. I mean, the same conversations are going on, and they can do anything. But the bottom line comes down to it, and you ask AI to do something, it can come back with great data, but it's not necessarily applicable to the problem, right?
Like if it doesn't do a square peg round hole thing, if it's not working, it's not working.
Yeah, it's not working. And the difference between causation and the cause and effect piece of it is just really not there with AI. It'll be like, oh no, this correlates to this. Did it cause that, or did it just correlate to what that is? And I think that there's just
I think it forgets itself, and like
there's this huge dependence that you're going to be able to put any question that you want to in there. But like they've already done studies that AI makes things up because it's just basing off of what's on the internet. And I don't know if anybody else knows this or not, but not everything on the internet.
Do you believe everything you hear on the internet?
Right? Not everything on the internet is true. So most overhyped for me right now.
All right, AI is overhyped. What's underrated, or in a category rather than like what deserves more attention?
I think that the work-life balance, like in any of the pieces that kind of work with that the stress levels are just so high out there, right? That there's plenty of things that can help work that out and like help how your brain flows and works and kind of get it in there. And I just don't think we spend a lot of time on it. I think everybody's looking for the shortcut that gets you there. So it's like, what's going to make you happy in the next 15 minutes? And I think that there's a lot of things that can be done over repetition and great rituals and just having like nice routines that kind of get you there. And we're not paying attention to the things that work there with that.
Well, it goes back to that other word you said that I like, this having a sustainable work-life balance.
Yep.
Yeah. I got to work on that too. Faster to market or better to market?
I'm always going to say better, because I've seen way too many people who tried to get there just the fastest because they were trying to beat somebody else there, right? And in that effort, then they either get overshadowed because the other person took a little longer and were able to present better. It could be exactly the same thing, but if it's presented in a way that people find it easier to understand, or it's more compelling, or it just looks more authentic. And I think in that rush, we do lose the authenticity of what the story was. Right?
The story is still important.
The story is still important. And I think if there is a story to tell, taking the time to tell it is just the best way to go.
I love that. Okay, last one. If you had to run one of the retail stores tomorrow, like poof, got to do it. We don't know why, just have to do it. What's your first move? Like I'd crank up the music. You're never allowed to do that. But like pretend it's your day to run the floor. Right. It's just kind of like, well, I'm Ginger. I'm running the floor. Like this is what's going.
I, having worked in a lot of retail stores, I will tell you, I change the windows in the drive aisle like nobody's business. I am like, if what I had in there yesterday did not resonate with you, I guarantee you I have something in this store that you want. Let me figure out how to position it in such a way that you see it better and tell a better story. I think that the amount of stories that stores can really tell in their windows and drive aisles, that is what gets people to come deeper to the store.
That's I had like a little nostalgia of like window sets and like, go and pass the Nordstrom sets to see what they changed, or the Saks sets, like just because, back when malls were a thing, it was fun.
People still go up to New York just to go through and look at the holiday window selections. So, but yeah, a good soundtrack is always a good vibe.
Well, fun. Everyone come to Ginger and Tori's, Academy store in our mind, right? We made a store in our mind. We're going to have good tunes and we're going to have great product and awesome windows. I'm here. Sign me up. You've been so awesome. Thank you so much for all your time.
No, thank you.
Just before, thank you. Before we do the whole wrap, right? Like the condoms. If you have any sort of just wisdom you want to leave the audience with, or just, do your mic drop and let people know where they can reach out if they have any questions on Adam and Eve. Do the shameless plugs.
Yeah, LinkedIn is always a great place to reach out to me. I do try to go on there and then just interact with people. And I love to read the really interesting articles and kind of see the different things. So Ginger Vickery on LinkedIn. I'm associated with PHE, which is the parent company of Adam and Eve. I think if I had any words of wisdom, just in general, I don't believe that you have to change who you are to be successful in life. If anything, I think you need to figure out what it is that you are the most proud of in yourself and lean into it and really bring that level of confidence and experience of what you have, because everybody has great experiences. Everybody has something that they know more about than anybody else around them. They're just usually too nervous to lean into it. They don't want to embarrass themselves. And you really just have to kind of walk away from that and say, nope, this is who I am and this is who I'm going to be. And I believe that that will add value to almost any team that you work with if you do that.
Aw, I'm going to clip that for myself when I'm having a bad day.
Yeah, no.
That was
great.
That was beautiful. Thank you, Ginger. That's a wrap, everybody. Huge thank you to the audience, to Meat Lover, Ryan, and Ginger. Thank you for pulling back the curtain. And really, this was like me having a good time asking questions. I don't think we asked much of the things on the outline, and I love it. It was beautiful. And if anybody, thank you. If anyone else has enjoyed the conversation, or you want to get involved, or it was somehow inspiring, feel free to send it off to people. Please share. If you're looking for me, you can go to the P3 page. Most of my episodes are there, and you can DM people. Otherwise, I do have a YouTube, which is the YouTube at Tuesdays with Tori Tia. And there's stuff there. So let us know. Oh, hey, Chris. Thanks for showing up.
No, thanks so much for inviting me. Anytime.
Oh, it was fun. And hey, we've learned that whether it's on a shelf or a screen, like your product, if it's not solving a problem, right? Maybe it's a good time to create some momentum, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
See you next Tuesday, y'all.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.